Hi, and welcome to Success Connect. My name is Kim Leslie. I'm Director of Solution Marketing here at SuccessFactors, and I'm the moderator. So today we're going to be speaking to two individuals, one from our SAP SuccessFactors customer Dexcom, and also from our SAP Endorsed app partner Eightfold. And the topic of our conversation today is going to focus on three main things. We're going to focus on Dexcom and some of the challenges they've been facing, in particular in the talent acquisition space, how SAP SuccessFactors recruiting and Eightfold are helping with those challenges, and also how employees have been impacted and how this is helping the employee experience. So now let's welcome our two guests to the show. So first we have Matt Hill from Dexcom. Hi, Matt.
Thanks, Kim. Very happy to be here. I'm Matt Hill, Director of Talent Acquisition at Dexcom, and this is actually my very first Success Connect.
Oh, well, welcome. And we also have Mark Nixon from Eightfold.
Great to be here, a Vice President at Eightfold in charge of the partner program, and also my first Success Connect.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you both. So Matt, I'm going to start with you. So can you please give us an overview of who Dexcom is and what it is that you do?
Sure, happy to. So Dexcom is a pioneer in the continuous glucose monitoring space, which we call CGM. It's basically a wearable sensor platform with wireless access, connected apps, and data-informed personal health insights. And I'll tell you more about why that's all important next. But Dexcom has grown from around 1,000 employees in 2016 to more than 4,000 in 2020, with revenue growing over 40% a year during that entire time. We just joined the S&P 500 in June, displacing American Airlines. And our TA footprint spans the US, Europe, and the Philippines, with much more global growth ahead of us, including a third factory in Penang, Malaysia. But here's why all that really matters. So diabetes, it's a global crisis that remains uncontrolled. And there's the law of halves. And so of around 460 million adults who have diabetes in the world, only around 50% of those are diagnosed who even know that they have diabetes, either type 1 or type 2. Only 25% of the total receive care, only 12.5% of that overall total achieve their targets, and only 6% of those achieve their desired outcomes in terms of living a life free of diabetes complications. And so just looking at that, you can see the huge health crisis that's there. And so the standard way of monitoring glucose is intermittent monitoring, basically doing a finger stick to check your blood glucose. And so you can see in this case, if your target glucose range is between 80 and 140 milligrams per deciliter, then this person looked like they did pretty good. They basically were in their target glucose range 2 out of the 4 times, a little bit above for the rest of the time. And so that looks like an okay day. But when you actually have continuous glucose monitoring where you're getting a reading every 5 minutes, you can actually see a much more full story. And so in this case, you see actually that the patient was in a dangerous low blood glucose state for part of the day. Then they took a measurement, looked like they were at their target. They then went very high for most of the day, slowly started to come back down. And really, you see that the intermittent monitoring only captured a few of those data points. This gives a much more full picture. And so for an inside HR joke, it's kind of like doing an engagement survey once a year as opposed to doing pulse surveys throughout the year. You're going to get a much better point in time if you're going to do intermittent surveying.
That's a great analogy. And those are some pretty scary statistics you mentioned, with only 50% of people actually knowing that they have diabetes who have it, and so on. So thank you, Dexcom, for what you do. Now, Matt, can you give us a little bit of a background on what business challenges you were facing that led you to choose SAP SuccessFactors and Eightfold?
Sure. So given the continued rapid growth across our type 1 category, expanding into new geographies across the world, and also our push into the type 2 category, we need to continue to up our sourcing and attraction game. We're not slowing down anytime soon. And so this year, 2020, we swapped out investments in passive advertising-based tools and really moved that spend to more proactive matching technology to complement our internal sourcing team's efforts. And so sourcing and individual attraction efforts will always be necessary for high-level and niche roles. But the matching that we're able to implement is complementary to sourcing, and it's really revolutionary when you think about it.
Wow, revolutionary. That's quite a bold statement. Can you go into expand on why you think it's revolutionary?
Sure. I mean, it's just such a huge shift on both sides of the TA equation, right? So on the internal and external candidate side, there's AI-assisted skill-based matching across all of our Dexcom jobs. And that, of course, drives AI-accelerated talent matching for recruiters and hiring managers on the other side. And so information asymmetry is reduced. Candidates know more about why they could be a good match for a role at Dexcom, and recruiters know more about where candidates could be a good match in the organization based on their skills and interests.
That's really helpful for candidates when they can see why they're a good match for a job. That can give them a lot more confidence when they're actually going in and applying for that job and then interviewing for it. Now, switching gears a little bit. So how do you think talent acquisition has been changing, in particular over the last, say, several months?
So sourcing and attraction, I'd say, are becoming even more important, even with the pandemic, with the economic downturn. There's still a lot of good senior folks who are still working at stable companies and need to be courted. Eightfold helps us do that at scale.
Great. And what about your people? How have your people been impacted, in particular the employee experience using SAP SuccessFactors and Eightfold?
Sure, I'd say it's been a huge increase to the recruiter experience. Really, intake meetings and skill set calibration become a science instead of an art. Really partnering with hiring managers to leverage current employees or ideal candidate profiles, key skills, diversity goals, and other advanced filters. And because of that, our success factors ATS data really becomes incredibly more valuable with this matching layer and the APIs. And of course, squeezing more ROI out of our current systems is always a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matt, for that. Mark, now I'm going to switch over to you for a few minutes. So I know you partnered with Dexcom throughout their implementation. So were there any surprises that you had to respond to there at Dexcom?
Well, we did have a unique request from Dexcom. That was a great one, though, for both our own platform as well as our client community. And Dexcom wanted to use our personalized career sites to be able to deliver on an end-to-end mobile application experience for their candidates. And so for that to happen, we needed to enhance our personalized career sites to support multiple question and answer scenarios that would deliver results for regional compliance laws, as well as specific languages tied to job locations. And then we had to map all that back into SuccessFactors. And I'll tell you, Kim, Matt and the Dexcom team, they were highly collaborative in working with us to build out this capability. And of course, Matt could share with you that they really realized a lot of value following their go live.
That's great. It's always great when you have a partner and a customer is able to work together so collaboratively. So can you expand a little bit on the capabilities of the Eightfold's SAP Endorsed app solution?
Sure. Just thought I'd touch on our vision a bit and then lead into what companies are finding so compelling about Eightfold. At the highest level, we believe employment is the backbone of our society and that everyone deserves the right career. So the development of this vision statement, which began 4 years ago, has resonated really well across the global marketplace. And we have had triple-digit year-over-year growth the last 2 years, and we're experiencing a tremendous first half of the year amid this global pandemic. And we are adapting to meet some very dynamic shifts that we are seeing. For example, the individual is shifting toward personalization and flexibility. They might make 11 job changes before they turn 50. And the millennial generation, they don't want the same job, they want what's next. Also shifting actively is the enterprise. The half-life skills of the employees is now 4 years, and companies are shifting through 9 times more data than they were just 2 years ago. Also, we see the workforce shift, the highest unemployment in generations, and it's trending to become 50% contingent this year. So Kim, these 3 shifts mean we must find our feet quickly to support businesses globally.
Yeah, and that's a great summary of some of the shifts that have been happening. I'm not a millennial, so I cannot imagine changing jobs 11 times in my career, but I'm sure that's happening. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about Eightfold as a company and what you do?
Well, we created a talent intelligence platform, and that leverages deep learning AI and our own data talent network across all the professions and industries to create meaningful and actionable intelligence. And we've had great results. We have over 100 customers to date in 25 countries covering 15 languages. And also off to a terrific start as one of the top performing endorsed app partners. So effectively, we just bring data to life in the areas of talent acquisition and talent management. And then we extend this value to the SuccessFactors applications, delivering new efficiencies. Plus, the customers can retain their workflows and their critical functionalities. So I like to think of Eightfold as a company that uses AI to surface the potential of your candidates and your employees. It's not just what they have done so far, but what they can do next.
So you've mentioned deep learning a couple of times. Can you explain what that is? What is deep learning AI?
Well, it's certainly a complex subject, but it's trained on our deep learning is trained on over 1 billion career profiles across every profession and industry. So the larger data sets that we provide allows our algorithms the opportunity to constantly refine and get smarter on employee and candidate attributes tied to your HRIS and ATS systems. The more data, the better the results. And so within the world of all things talent, deep learning AI understands the factors that predict career paths based on jobs, companies, skills, and work experience. And then another area where deep learning AI is providing a powerful impact is in diversity hiring and management. So we use the right data by using global versus localized data to normalize the learnings and remove biases, and we use the right algorithms. So we actually have our own equal opportunity algorithms that model the skills, learning, and experience to predict potential for the role. And then we use the right features. So we don't give away the race, ethnicity, gender, or age of an individual.
That's great. Diversity and inclusion is such an important topic and very, very topical these days as well. So can you give us some examples of what benefits your clients are seeing with their use of Eightfold?
Yes, absolutely. We've seen up to 35% faster time to hire. And one of the areas I love talking about is this 25% reduced attrition of top performers, because that is obviously highly topical in today's economy. We've seen 50% recruiter time savings, an 81% gain in internal mobility, which is just fantastic, and then a 19% increase in the hiring of women. And I wanted to mention that many of our clients are seeing a rapid time to value in a relatively short period of time. I know Matt could probably speak to some early outcomes that they've experienced.
Sure, and we are still relatively early, but in fact, we've seen ROI even before going live with at least 2 offers coming from Eightfold as our sourcing team tested the tool. We've seen a ridiculously high ratio of all career site visitors converting to applicants, really 40% of all career site visitors becoming applicants through the first couple of months. And really as a surprise bonus, it's also effectively mobilized our ATS as recruiters and hiring managers can now easily review and disposition candidates through Eightfold on their phones or tablets. And of course, we're really looking forward to implementing the internal career site for our employees and bringing this great functionality to our own internal folks.
Wow, that's great. So Matt and Mark, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. And thank you everyone for joining us. So for those that are interested in learning more about Eightfold and their solution, you can go to the SAP App Center at www.sapappcenter.com. Also, don't forget to tune into Success Connect for more on-demand content. Thanks for joining us.